Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Grid Watchers podcast, episode 40. We've managed to get 40 shitty podcasts on the internet, but today we are going to talk about the Italian Grand Prix. And joining me this evening is Ashley and Rickson. And guys, I think it was probably one of the better races of the year. I know there aren't many good races at this season, but it was a good Italian Grand Prix.
Yes.
Lewis won. Yes.
Of course it was. Lewis won.
Yeah. That's
It was good, and usually they're quite dull, the Monza GPs the last couple of years, but no, it was interesting. It had drama, it had intrigue, it kept us on the edge of our seats until until Hamilton overtook Kimi, and then I think it was someone was in the pit lane. I think it was Ted was in the pit lane, and he was like, people are leaving the grandstand now.
Yeah.
Ferrari fans just walked out as soon as Hamilton overtook Kimi. I was like, okay, game over.
Yeah.
As it was.
But yeah, no, I mean, I can't. I was gutted that Kimi didn't win. I know Rickson is going to disagree with me. With Hamilton
fuck Kimi
winning.
Räikkönen.
But yeah, I wish he did win. It's just his tires were in pieces at the end.
Ferrari fucked him, man.
Ferrari seemed to,
Yeah.
even when Vettel's at the back of the grid, they still managed to fuck Kimi over.
Yeah.
I run out of words.
No, that's true. I mean, but the biggest story was I think Rickson put it best in one of his tweets: the Vettel choke. And it literally was. You can call it a bottle, but he kind of didn't have anything to bottle, but he just choked. He got so stressed about Hamilton going on the outside, they just ran into him and just dropped it. And same sort of thing with Singapore last year, where he got so het up over it, he just couldn't control himself and just drove straight into Kimi and Verstappen. He's just like, stress, panic. And it was like, yeah, people want to see Kimi win, but everyone knows with the Pirelli tires that they're cheese, essentially, and if you go out and hammer them straight away, you're going to have issues. And they were like, right, Kimi, hammer it for 8 laps, and he hammered it, and there we are. We had tire issues at the end. So I was surprised they didn't see that coming. I'm surprised they didn't see that they were just going to leave Bottas out, allow Hamilton just to slowly gain back up in his own pace, and then just hold him there. I'm surprised Ferrari couldn't see that coming. So yeah, but there we go. Ferrari doing shit strategy calls.
That's nothing new, is it? Well, I mean, unfortunately for Pirelli, unfortunately for us, they're going to be around for a while because I think it was Michelin, or was it one of the Michelin or Bridgestone, wrote in and said they're not going to go for it for the F1 tyres.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Bridgestone are doing. So maybe I'm going to say they're not going to either. Been a long time since they've been in the sport.
Yeah, the only name circulating at the moment is Hankook, the Korean tire brand.
Oh, they sponsored Chelsea, didn't they?
They're not bad.
They're not bad, but I mean,
anything's better than the shite we've got now. So
I think so. Yeah, I'd say so. Give them a shot. I'd say it can't be, as you said, it can't be worse than what we've currently got.
Yeah.
Where like people are just getting blisters out of thin air. So well done. And then, but it's okay. We make the tires harder, and that's like, no, that's not the issue. God's sake! You just end up with rock hard, super soft tires that'll do half a Grand Prix, which is just ridiculous, and yet they'll still blister. I don't see how anyone can't see it. To be honest with you, find it incredible.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they sort something else, but I'm going to disagree. I'm going to say they're not going to anytime soon. But going back to the actual race, we mentioned it slightly there about the crash. Vettel just being a player going into turn 4 on 5.
Yeah, and he can't blame it on anybody else but himself because Hamilton was in front before the turn into the corner, so technically that place is his, and then obviously Vettel doesn't move, he turns in. I'm guessing there was a bit of understeer or something there because Vettel is good enough, as much as I hate him because he's a Nazi bastard, he is good enough to not do that.
Well, this is getting flagged.
Advertisement out the window.
No, I'm not making my one penny. No more video.
It's an open book from here, lads. It's an open book.
Anything goes. Anything goes. No. But yeah, he's better than that, and he knows that he's choking the championship now. He's getting, like you said, Ash, he's starting to get a bit stressed because he knows that he's up against the greatest driver of all time. So he knows, man. He knows that he's taking the L again this year.
I mean, as much as that's slightly biased, but he has got a point, and it seems that the team are supporting Lewis, but Vettel seems to be trying to carry the team as well as his own championship. Do you know what I mean? It's and he's going into these battles so on eggshells it looks. At whether Hamilton was ahead at the corner or not, like there was never, and on the apex it was at its minimum, which was a car's width, and Seb wasn't on the sausage curb, he was just on the red and white. And then the point where Seb actually hit him, Hamilton had opened it back out to give Seb half a car width. There was half a car width on Seb's left side, so Kimi was right in front of him because he was defending into the second chicane. So, and Seb was on the inside, which meant Seb was right under Kimi's rear wing the whole time through the braking and then through the corner as well, while Hamilton had clear air on the outside. So that contributed a lot to it. But it goes back to what people were saying back in 2010, 2011, 2012, 13. Hamilton was one of the most vocal in saying, give Seb a car where we can actually race each other, put him wheel-to-wheel traffic where he hasn't got a massive advantage, and watch him fall. He hasn't got those skills, and everyone was like, oh yeah, you're just being bitter because he's out ahead. But no, time and time again, they go wheel-to-wheel, and it's just like, oh, hold on now. And it's exactly what Rickson said, it's a choke. As good as he is, and as successful as he is, for some reason, it just goes wrong. And that's what in Mark Webber's Beyond the Grid, he said Seb's really good when everything goes to plan, Germanic, everything goes by routine, and that's fine. But, he fully expected to get a better start than Kimi and have him into turn one. And then when that didn't work and Hamilton started going on the outside, he was under the wing of Kimi, and all of a sudden it got a bit much, and then he choked. Whereas other people are able to more able to think on their feet. But Mark said, in his time with Red Bull, you throw a different situation up at Sebastian and say, right, you've only got one lap now, and you were meant to have three. You'd be like, and he'd drop the ball. Which is fair enough. It's difficult for a lot of us, but when you're in a sport like that, you need to be able to think on your feet, and that's his biggest downfall.
When you're a multiple-time world champion, you shouldn't choke a race like he did today, or you shouldn't choke anything.
Or Germany.
He was winning by miles, and he just crashed. Like shit like that is just it just proves, man, why Hamilton. I've said it time and time again, why he's so much better than everybody else on the grid right now, because like. He can win from anywhere, really. They haven't even got the best car this year, and he's still leading the championship by quite a hefty amount now. And the worst thing is just like the people on Twitter who are like die-hard Vettel fans that actually think he's got a chance. Like he really doesn't. I don't know how many times I have to tell these people that he's not going to win the World Championship this year, and he's not going to win it next year, and he's not going to win it the year after. Until Hamilton finishes. Vettel's never going to win another championship. It's fucking simple logic, man. He's just so much better.
So when Mercedes has a fast car, Mercedes win. When Ferrari have a fast car, somehow they manage to drop the ball, and I don't see how. I'm not as a die-hard Vettel fan. I'm not a die-hard Hamilton fan. I'm not really a fan of anyone. I like to. The only reason I want to see Ferrari win the championship this year is for that Sergio bloke. When the way he went was absolutely awful. If he just died, I don't know, of old age, it wouldn't be so bad. But to go in to just have a surgery op and then 3 days later be in a coma, completely brain dead is absolutely horrific. So that's the only reason I'm kind of easing towards them. And then of course Hamilton, depending on who's interviewing him, can really wind me up. I'll always say to someone, if they say, oh, there's no difference, look back at his interview with Jenson Button before the Silverstone Grand Prix, and he's so genuine, and he's back to what he was like 10 years ago. And then he's interviewing Sky like after this Grand Prix, and he's like, oh my God, it's just so amazing. And you're like, fucking hell, mate. Oh, God's sake. And it's so put on, but it's so unnecessary. People like him because of his talent and his skill. He doesn't need to do all the rest of it. But anyway, it's... Yeah, it just, as you said, people who want to win championships and who do things right, they don't make mistakes like that. And Hamilton's drive in Germany when Vettel just dropped it off the circuit was just incredible. And today to to be able to manage what was going on, have more downforce, and just go around the outside of Kimi like he did 10 years ago or 11 years ago in the same place and just absolutely rinse him was it was just really, because it's really well held together, and the team seemed to be able to manage Lewis Hamilton far better than McLaren used to be able to, in terms of, like when he came out the pits, he was like, oh my god, why is the gap so big? And in days gone by, he'd have just lost his head and maybe dropped the ball a bit there. But Mercedes seemed to be able to just say, no, you keep going now. We've got Bottas is still out the front, so just keep going, and you know what's going to happen. And that's what he did, and he just held it together. Whereas Seb would have been like, yesterday was the writing was on the wall when Seb was straight after quali, rather than sort of putting the brave face on the scene of the media. Oh, that was fantastic for Kimi. He'd already started getting pissed off. Right, that wasn't the way it was meant to go.
Of course.
That wasn't it. And it was, you could just see it happening. Like, everyone on Twitter was just like, oh, yep, he's going to bottle it tomorrow. It's not going to work out. Something's going to go wrong. And lo and behold.
And look what happened.
Yeah. You just, even if you aren't a Hamilton fan, as I'm not, you can't fault their performance. Today and in Germany. It's just,
Sadly, though, people will, because they don't like him, because he's a bit of a prick, and that's why I love him even more. So...
Yeah, it's just, at the end of the day, all you can say is, there wasn't any dirty tricks. They didn't, there wasn't any contact, no Verstappen style moving in the braking zone. It was just straight. It was just a straight, I'm faster than you. And Kimi, I tweeted earlier, Kimi quoted, that's his quote when people ask him about his contract. He's there like, I'm still driving as well as I was a couple of years ago, and I've still got that pace, but the results just don't show it. And it shows today. Hamilton went around the outside just like he did 11 years ago, and Kimi got up just as much of a fight. So, he's still driving the same way.
Kimi does not have the same pace he did. I don't know why he's still there. I don't know why he's still racing. He's bringing nothing to the team. Like, he can't win, can't gain positions on lap one. He only loses positions. He can't fucking, stick it on pole often enough. He's not bringing in, for the car he's in, he's not bringing in, the right amount of points for them to win a title. And I think I've been saying it for ages, man. It's about time he just sacks it off, mate, and goes on a nice 6-year long break and goes and sees the sights. I don't know what he's doing. He's just wasting his time. And there's loads of drivers that we could talk about that are wasting their time. There's young drivers who are worthy of their seats, and they're just filling them because money is one.
Name and prestige.
Because of name and prestige is another thing. Yeah, it's just bullshit, man.
It is because he's saying, oh, do you know what? I really enjoy. I'm still enjoying the racing, and I enjoy, I wouldn't be here if I don't enjoy it. And it's like, well, you could have fooled me, mate. Every shot, whether you're on camera or not, you got a face like a slapped ass. When you're in the car, you just never seem like you're actually enjoying something. You get pole yesterday and just go, thank you. And then he pulls in. Oh, it's just typical Kimi. Like, he pulls in onto the grid where they do their, they show the cars off right at the end of quali, and they're like, "Did you hear all the fans cheering you on your cool down lap?" And you went, "Oh, I couldn't really hear him really." So, yeah, it didn't really make a difference to me. And you're like,
he's so boring.
God's sake,
could support him?
Yeah, but if you couldn't hear them, you still say, "Oh wow, incredible!" Do a Hamilton, incredible to hear all these people, amazing support for Ferrari and whatever. And it's just like, it's a PR disaster.
He's just, and the thing is, like, you can't even hire him for his driving now, because he's driving shit as well.
Yeah. It was back in the day. It was
he's
good.
Got nothing going for him anymore. He's just an old bastard who somehow is still driving. I have no idea how. Like, it's weird. So weird.
Yeah, I mean, you look back and you think 2014, okay, that was terrible. 2015, that was terrible. 2016, that was just below par every single time. 2017, yeah, that didn't go very well. And then when you look back, you're like, oh my god, how's he even the possibility of getting another year? I just can't. As you said, you could take his PR to one side and say, look, he's really quick, and now he's not. He's not only not quick, and he's not consistently up there, and he does shit PR. and he doesn't give a shit. So I think Charles, it could be, if it goes wrong, it could be sort of a.
It's too soon.
Could break Charles. Yeah, and that's the thing. That would be really difficult, because the pressure. You look at the pressure on Vettel's shoulders. He is, and he knows how successful he is, and he goes there and he almost dropped it and left the team in 2016 because it was just awful. Because 2016 was such a bad year. He was looking for a way out, possibly, and you put Charles Leclerc in there, and it's a really big weight on his young shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about this because, of course, he signed some sort of contract with Ferrari this weekend, hasn't he, Leclerc?
Yes, I have the article in front of me now.
So isn't I haven't read it, but from what I've gathered, isn't it something like he's gonna wait a year or something, and then they're gonna have Kimi for one more year, and then he goes in afterwards? Is some shit like that? Because if that's the case, then they're shafting both of them. Because that's basically saying, Kimi, you've got one more year, mate, and then see you later. Which is, as much as I hate Kimi, it's fair on him. Like, sorry, it's not very fair on him. Like, he's done nothing wrong really. Like, he's not driving great, fair, but in terms of just to boot him out the team after a year, it's weird.
I mean, the article was on Auto Build. The German website, they published it, and they say that it started in the Canadian Grand Prix when that waitress decided to kick up a fuss to say that Raikkonen, father of 2 children and a gorgeous wife, sexually harassed her, which is just a massive claim squabble. Unbelievable. Like, oh yeah, he touched me. Oh, really? You really think so? I think Minto would probably beat him up if he did that. But then Sergio Marchionne, who kind of didn't really like him anyway, was like, right, okay, we'll use that to get him out. And they'd actually done a contract for Charles to take the seat in Spa, apparently. Charles was going to take the seat. They'd actually done, like Puma, who do the overalls, had actually done overalls for Charles for Belgium.
Oh, wow.
Like, they were ready. But of course, Marchionne had his awful death, which was one awful way to go. And of course, then he went, and then it was like, okay, so the leader behind the project's just stepped out. We kind of don't want to upset the boat, the next person who came in. So it was when he died, Arriva Bene likes Kimi. Sebastian is obviously Kimi's biggest asset because Sebastian feels he can control it when Kimi's there. Charles is probably not going to just say, yeah, I'll just take the money and sit back. He's probably going to say, well, no, I don't want to play second fiddle, do a Rubens Barrichello the whole time.
Of course not.
And then, but Leclerc was happy to go, and his manager is Nicholas Todd, who's son of Jean Todd, who's obviously got their Ferrari ties and stuff like that. Some of Ferrari want Leclerc. Leclerc wants to be in the Ferrari. Ferrari kind of know that he needs to be there, but then you've got Arriva Bene and Vettel going, well, actually, we kind of like Kimi, and it's kind of nice the way it is right now because Vettel left Red Bull because of Ricciardo. And those challengers coming in and stepping in, they want to have lead control, but like Alonso. So it looks at the moment that he'll do at least one more year in Ferrari if things are to stay as they are, and Leclerc will go to Haas next year instead. So it's a bit of a because I think Leclerc would do better to stay in Sauber next year to have continuity with the team rather than being dropped in the team with Magnussen and having to relearn everything again with a different team. He'd be better left in Sauber. And but at the same time, I really don't think Raikkonen deserves that seat anymore. As Rickson said, what is keeping him there?
Yeah, that's a very good point. And yeah, I don't really know the appeal of Kimi anymore. I mean, like you said, he's not very good PR-wise. He doesn't like doing it. He's always very monotone. Doesn't like talk to the media. I mean, and he's old. He's not as good as he used to be.
Good. He's shit, mate.
Yeah.
Put him in any other car, he wouldn't get a podium. He's shit. He's absolutely shit. So it's about time he packs his bags and fucks off.
Plain and simple.
No, the guy he's got wrinkles, man. Like, you're old. Wrinkles. You should just call it a day and just.
That's it. End your career. You've got a wrinkle.
What? I mean, I'll tell you what. Those wrinkles are so deep. There isn't any cream in the world that's going to sort them out. I'm telling you, he's fucked it, man.
Oh dear me. But that's the thing. As you guys said, there's so much young talent coming through, and there was this big palaver about where's Ocon going to go and all that sort of stuff. But that sort of stuff is, kind of fizzling out now because Perez might take his money to McLaren again. They're actually talking deals with Perez,
really?
which is just incredible.
Mm.
Yeah, because Zach Brown has actually openly said they're looking at Perez. Van Dorn's obviously on the list. Norris, Ocon as well. But I just think it's daft. I think someone tweeted earlier, I can't remember who it was, that Mercedes really did miss an opportunity to buy Manor years ago, and they wouldn't have any of these issues now. Because you've got Russell as well, who's doing better than Norris.
Yeah.
And it's sad. I think really Stroll is going to get the Force India seat. Well, whether it's sooner or later, we don't know. And I think everything hinges around that. It all pushy Lawrence Stroll is going to be around his son, and then everything will just fall apart across that. But as soon as Raikkonen goes as well, that is just going to be grid turmoil. And I like that kind of thing. I like switching seats and all that sort of stuff. Status quo is boring. Get people in different teams.
Yeah, definitely.
And there's a question mark over Van Dorn as well, because was he last in every session last weekend, and then he was he last in quali? Can't remember for this weekend. So I mean, there's a massive. If it ends up with like 1 or 2 people moving, it's just gonna be shit and a really bad anticlimax, because it's just so much stuff's about to happen, and it's just waiting on like Stroll to move and then possibly Kimi to move, and if that happens, the whole grid will just shuffle about, and it'll be fantastic.
Yeah.
But if that doesn't happen, then we're stuffed, and it's going to be another boring silly season.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll have to wait and see with regards to some of the driver moves. Some of them have already been confirmed. Of course, Ricciardo going to Renault, and it seemed that Renault shafted Daniel Ricciardo once again this weekend. 4 retirements out of the last 6 races. It was a clutch issue, but I don't believe that. I believe it was another power unit problem. And he went out about halfway through the race.
You can see why he's left Red Bull, man. Like, they've had a shit season for both Max and Danny. You know, makes perfect sense. To be fair, I mean, at this point, I don't even think it needs talking about. I think it's very obvious why he wants to go, and today showed again why. You know, he's been shafted horribly. You know, by the engine in that car again, and seemingly nothing's happened to Max. Like, Max was perfectly fine. It's just I don't understand it, man.
And he just had a new power unit as well. So you can see, you're right, exactly. We all saw all the smoke and everything, and Renault tweeted from their Twitter account, which is very odd, because I think they must have been getting a lot of abuse from Twitter, I guess, because everyone was like, oh, it's a power unit issue. But Ricciardo was apparently feeling vibrations, and then everyone saw the smoke. But Renault, as I said, from their Twitter account, have tweeted that it wasn't a power unit issue, it was a clutch issue. And that's odd, because usually you only see clutches fail when they do like a couple of grid restarts, or when they when there's an aborted start, and often that's when you see a clutch issue, not sort of midway through a Grand Prix. And he's just had a brand new engine, but it just sort of ties in a bit rubbish as well, because you've got Renault moved on to the Spec C engine, which is their third version of this season, and then Red Bull decided that they weren't going to go with that. They were going to stay with the Spec B because it was more reliable. And now that's switched. After Renault had like engine failures with Hülkenberg in Austria and stuff, they said, do you know what, we're going to go back. Well, it might have been after the summer break. Renault decided to go back to the Spec B because, in their words, it was more reliable. But Red Bull said, right, we're going to try the Spec C instead. And we're going to see, because our Spec B was breaking down on us, so we might as well go with the Spec C. And now they've gone with the Spec C, and that's gone as well. And then Ricciardo's just like, yeah, I'm going to go to the Works team next year, run by the man who's not, run by the same man who's done the engine program since 2014. He ran Caterham into the ground in 2014, took control of the Renault engine program from the end of 2014, which has seen them stay consistently the third slowest team with the engines, and then he's now managing that team. And he also kicked out the guy that's taken Sauber from the back of the grid to top 10 Q3 appearance people. Cyril Abiteboul managed to kick out what's his name? Manager of Sauber. I always forget his name.
No, I don't fucking know.
Oh, the bloke. The bloke.
Yeah,
the bloke.
Yeah,
probably is a bloke.
The bloke.
That bloke who does like who always does dad jokes in interviews. Oh, I can't remember his name. Oh, that's just killed me now. I'm gonna have to search it. But no, he's Cyril Abiteboul kicked him out. One of the most highly regarded people in all of F1 history. The reason Nico Hülkenberg went to the team, and then Cyril came in and went, ah, nope, out you go. And yeah, so kicked him out, and Ricciardo's going there. And it's like, yes, I can see why you want to change, because as I think Ricciardo had an interview with Paul di Resta on Sky. And he said, look, when I joined Red Bull, it was off the back of them winning 4 consecutive titles. And I was like, look, come on, for the next 5 years, I'm bound to get one. And he hasn't had any. So he's like, do you know what? I'm going somewhere else. I'm fed up. And that's fair enough. And of course, the Max preference, which apparently doesn't exist. But at the same time, you can kind of see Frederick Vasseur. That's it. Frederick Vasseur, yeah. But no, the Max preference that... they say he doesn't exist, but then you've got Helmut Marko, who's very, very picky and choosy. He always takes favourites and takes sides, and is very was instrumental in sort of most of Mark Webber's downfalls and his retirement, because he was so sort of ran a dictatorship around Vettel. But yeah, and it's sad to see Ricciardo go, because he sort of fits the team's philosophy in the way he behaves, but. Yeah, he's going to Renault. I think he'll breathe some life into Renault as it is. But I can't see him getting much more success there, not with Cyril Abiteboul at the helm, because the guy is just a shambles.
Yeah, I mean, Cyril Abiteboul is like a dictator in that team. He doesn't like something, he'll kick off about it, and it's not the best way to run a team. It's really not. Yeah, that is unfortunate, but yeah. I mean, Ricciardo's move, I like you said, Ash, I see why he's done it, and he's just thinking of the future, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, they're meant to be up there by 2020, Renault, winning races apparently, so we'll have to wait and see with regards to that. Just quick look at my list. What else we got to talk about?
Hartley crash?
Hartley crash, yeah, my favourite driver just got shafted by Ericsson and Van Dorn. Perfect.
Yeah,
that was standard driver being taken out by 2 other standard drivers.
Whoa, brutal. But it just sucks for Hartley, because he's come in, he wants to do well. He's been given a second shot at something he thought he'd lost, and I just don't know how many mirrors he's broken. But that just completely smashed him. And anyone else, like, they might have broken their front wing, but it just took his wheel off, clean off.
Yeah, it was a weird one, wasn't it? It just like snapped instantly. It was like paper.
He's just like, oh, well, I'm out. Cool. Cheers.
Yeah, it was a weird.
That slower than they were last year with Honda, and I think the Toro Rossos weren't actually that bad in the speed trap. They weren't, as expected. Actually not going to be, I don't think they're a Renault power unit next year. Bottas full overtake mode and like the whole of the straight before Eau Rouge to pass Brendan Hartley in a straight line in Spa. I think it's quite allowing Honda to do what they got to do rather than the McLaren trying to force Honda to do what they. I'm amazed how Honda stayed so quiet through all of the McLaren saga.
I can't hear a thing you're
like
saying.
A complete joke.
Are you guys getting a lot of lag as well?
What's wrong?
No, it's just
Am I getting lag?
Is it? No, it's me then. No, I keep.
All right. Well, it's just good to see Honda coming back after all the shit they got with McLaren. But the problem is they haven't got 2 cars scoring points. Only got the one, but for Toro Rosso, and it's like, how much? He just hasn't shown. Everyone's, oh yeah, he's got massive potential, but as Rickson says, there's nothing to lead us to say that he's no more than just a standard driver.
I don't think he should really. He's a good driver, but not in Formula 1.
Yeah, I'd go with that.
Just go back to Will Endurance. He was good at that.
It's quite common though. You got Brundle, and Brundle's beyond the grid. He said, I was always a couple of tenths off the fastest in F1, but you stick me in an endurance car and I'll do my fastest lap times for 3 hours straight. Whereas some of these guys won't be able to do that. So perhaps that's more of his bag to do something like that. And then apparently Kvyat's waiting in the wings to come back, and I'm like, wow, okay, how he can come back after Marco literally told him after Austin, pack your bags, no one is to see you leave, don't speak to anyone, get out of here now. Obviously in different words, but apparently in no uncertain terms, he just said, look, pack your bags, leave now. At the end of Austin, after doing really well, how he can even want to come back and drive for Toro Rosso, I just honestly don't understand, because they ruined him. Not the team themselves. He fell out with Franz Tost, fell out with Helmut Marko, and again, I think he might have been brought up too soon. He was brought up too soon from GP3. Then he was shoved into Red Bull too soon, and well, everyone knows what happened then to Kvyat. But they can't bring him back, surely.
No, they can't. I mean, bring someone new up.
He's shit. They'll be wasting their time. He's shit. He's fucking diabolical. The fact that he was in the Red Bull to start with is just a big out.
He didn't deserve that. No, he didn't deserve that drive at all.
No, he's never really been any good. But yeah, what can we do?
Yeah, it was a snap decision. Decision at the end of what was it, 2014? And they dropped Jev and took Kvyat instead, and then Jev's just gone and won Formula E. It's just like, but then again, I don't think Jev would have done very well in Red Bull either. Because of the mentality. Just because of the mentality as well. And the difference between Techeetah in Formula E and Helmut Marko in Red Bull in F1 is just ridiculous. The only reason why Daniel's getting along with it and doing so well is because of his personality. Everything just goes over Daniel's head. He knows when he's not getting good treatment, and he's just like, right, I'm out. Anyone else would do a Kvyat and just implode.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. We've got, so I think that was, of course, the Grosjean recent news bulletin. He's been disqualified for a faulty flaw on his car, and that means Sergei Sirotkin scores his his best ever finish.
First points in Formula 1.
Yeah, first points in Formula 1. In a really shockingly bad Williams, which was surprisingly good this weekend for both drivers.
Straight line, that's why.
Yeah, that is the only reason.
You're acting like, you're acting like they're both good drivers.
No, I know they're not.
Straight line, mate. Straight line. That's all it was. Yeah, they're so bad. Why is F1 so bad, man? Why is there only 2 teams? I just can't, man. Man, there's only 2 teams that can win races. Everybody else is just fucking shit.
Yeah, it's not very good. The current state of F1, everyone's like, oh, what an amazing. Do you realize how awful, actually, if you actually look at Formula 1 and Formula 1.5, how terrible this is, this current state of F1 is. But the only thing that, obviously, this is kind of Stroll's bogey track in the fact that he actually has some pace here for some reason.
This and Baku.
And Williams have done well to set the car up, because their problem is instability going into the corners, and to have maybe it's just the low downforce has allowed them, the super low downforce has allowed them to not have that. But I guess Spa would have said the same thing. But he didn't perform there. But what impresses me, what really annoys me, firstly, about that team is how Will Buxton I like Will Buxton as a person, but he's always like, Stroll, he's just such a good driver, and he's so talented. And then he's like, Sergei Sirotkin, he's like, do you know what? He's such a good team player and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, mate, come on, this shit. Stop trying to be different. Just accept the fact that both of them are just pay drivers. The only good thing about Sergei Sirotkin is when he does interviews, he gives, if you ask him the right questions, he gives quite articulate answers.
Yeah, he does.
And talks about how the team are developing and how he's developing with the team. Not that we see it at all on track, but he's quite good in the way he's blending with the team. He's not going in there going, well, it's just shit. What am I supposed to do with this car? Which is what Stroll's doing. He's going in and being like, right, okay, I've got bits I can improve on as well. And then obviously the car's not brilliant, but I think we're getting somewhere. So he's got positive attitude, but Stroll, I think also he asked, I think it was Buxton in his pre-race Belgium one. He went up to Stroll and was like, "Well, where are you going to be racing?" He's like, "Oh, my dad." I was like, well, I mean, if you couldn't make any more people hate you, mate, it's like, yeah, that's my dad. Yeah, he should bought this team. He's just got such a poor attitude. If he had loads of money and he had a really good attitude and he raced well, I think people would say, do you know what? Okay, he's earned it now. Yes, he's had a little shove, but he's earned it. But his attitude's terrible. And to say after 2017 that he never didn't learn anything off Massa, was just ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you're telling me, Stroll, you didn't use his setup for like the first 6 races because you had no idea what you were doing. Of course he did. Max used Daniel's setup for the first couple of races. He raced in Red Bull because he didn't know what he was doing, and he admitted that. But it just, his attitude versus Sergei's attitude is just miles apart. And now, with Lawrence Stroll going away to Force India, Williams are like, not really, they don't seem too bothered about Stroll. You don't see Claire Williams going, right, we're keeping Stroll to the end of the season. She's quite quiet on it all because they're saying, look, if you want to take him, just take him, go. I don't know why, but I think it's partly to do with the attitude of them both, to be honest with you. But yeah, we'll see on that one.
Yeah, well, yeah, something else. Of course.
But you did say, yeah, Grosjean's been excluded from Italy. Apparently, it's a legal flaw, but I don't know how. I don't know how or why. It's only Renault protesting against it, and apparently they've been protesting for months, and now all of a sudden it's illegal on one person's car. There's no, if anyone's a team leader in Haas, it's going to be Magnussen, and then they're probably going to give him any parts first. But why would Grosjean's flaw be illegal? I don't understand. More will come out on it over the next couple of hours, but I mean,
because he's French, bro.
We'll see. Maybe they give him a defunct flaw on purpose to say, oh, do you know what? Get a bad result so we can have more reason to sack you.
It's made out of bread, I heard.
Is it just lined up baguettes? That's what it is.
No, mate, that's exactly what it is. I don't know why. Yeah, that's why they questioned it. Because they heard him. They smelled the bread as they brought the car back into the pits, because obviously it was going so fast, the bread had been cooked. They were like, "Oh, it smells like toast," and then that was it.
Oh, I've got some more interesting. Apparently, the Haas story is complicated. This is Adam Cooper F1 on Twitter. In essence, the teams had to comply with the clarification on flaw design by Monza. Citing the summer break, Haas thought it had been given leeway to make changes for Singapore, so they hadn't made changes, and the car wasn't compliant here in the eyes of the FA. And then someone said, well, if Renault knew what they'd seen, why did they wait after the race? Surely they could have seen that on Friday. And then someone else has replied saying, well, they don't hand out front points on a Friday or a Saturday. So Renault have seen it and gone, do you know what? We're going to have them after the race. And they've raced it, and Renault have gone one march straight up to Charlie White and they've gone, do you know what? You see this car? They've not changed it. And he's gone, oh no, how did you see that? Well, thank you for bringing that to me. And they've gone, way, giving it two fingers to Steiner as they walked straight out the other side. But again, it's only Grosjean. Why don't Grosjean have a different flaw to Magnussen?
I don't understand that.
Because he's French. It's made out of bread. Fuck's sake.
He's just made out of bread, indeed. Yeah, that's another blunder from Haas, and how they've not got more points this season just shows how. I don't know what's going wrong with the team. I don't know why they're not getting points. Why they've just made this error now. It's like they could do. As you said, they basically got an updated Ferrari 2017 car, and they just seem to just not be making the most of it. The fact that Renault are beating them in the championship is just ridiculous. Yeah. Yes, it's a bigger team, but the basic mistakes Haas are making. If they didn't have the pace, people are like, oh yeah, that's cool. But they've got the pace. The car is flying, and Renault are able to pull ones over like this because they're poor management. I just don't understand. I suppose they're a young team. Let's put it that way. Put it down to that.
God, that's not really an excuse though, but
that's the only one they've got.
Yeah, hey-ho. But so we move on. Let's do the driver and deck of the day for the Italian Grand Prix. I know I didn't even ask Rickson's one.
Yeah.
But who's your deck of the day?
We know this one as well.
My deck of the day would be, I'm gonna say Max.
Wow.
Yeah, gonna say Max for getting himself a silly penalty for being stupid again. The guy can't drive. He can't. I don't get it. Again, it's just another one of those drivers that shouldn't be in F1, but they are.
It's unnecessary. I found as well. Like you can see that you're drifting back to the left of the track, and then he's like, "Oh, but what's the penalty for? Bottas drove into me." And you're like, "Well, no,
he didn't really.
You were on the right. You were on the right. Clearly moved back to the left
Yeah.
before turning in, and you're saying that someone else has hit you. Well, you're the one moving in the braking zone. That's just how can I know it? And obviously it's heat of the moment, and yes, he's in the car. Perhaps he'll reflect on it. And when it comes to interviews, maybe post race or the next week or next race, I should say, maybe he'll take a different attitude, but he won't because he's Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
He'd just be there. He'd just be there like, oh no, do you know what? No,
And
it's terrible, stupid penalty.
The thing that made it even worse is he had a full-on bitch fit as well. Like he's about 15 years old, and his
That was
parents
very
just
funny.
his parents just taking his like Xbox off him. Like you're a pro racing driver racing once, and you're gonna say that is like he should be back down to Toro Rosso. He's gonna act like a little bitch like that, man. Oh, just frustrating. So frustrating.
Yeah.
Right, so you're going Lewis and Max. Ash, who are you going for?
Oh, Dick of the day. I'd say it was probably just Vettel for choking again.
Yeah.
And so to me that was like, you've got such a good opportunity, and he just choked. He put himself under Kimi's rear wing in the stinking dirty air, then allowed him to go around the outside, and then not only rather than think, oh, do you know what? Right, he's got the position. I've got more power than him. Kimi can hold up Hamilton. I'm not out of this race. He just drove into him. Oh, with it's like 2016 F1 2016 contact system where you just got bounced round, and that was it. Those curtains. And then my driver of the day. Ooh, that's a good one. I hadn't thought of that. I actually hadn't thought of that. Bear with me. Come back to me on that one. Go with you. Go with you, Ollie.
I'm gonna go. Driver of the day is going to be Valtteri Bottas.
No,
Valtteri wingman.
I've been the best wingman, yeah.
Best wingman award.
Yeah, well, he gets the best wingman award. No, I'm gonna go with Sergio Perez because he gained 6 places off the start. From where he started,
that's a good shout. That's a good shout, actually.
Finishing 8th. Well, I will be 7th actually, so 9 places. 7 places.
Maths is hard, man. Maths is so hard.
I know. I'm an engineer and I still can't do maths. And my
you're in deep shit, mate. You are.
I know. And I don't know how they employed me.
Same.
Where are all the crayons gone?
Oh, you got it. Oh,
straight for the crayons.
And my tick of the day, right, is whoever decided the models on the podium wearing masks was a good idea.
Yes.
You always go for the weird one.
I was.
Bro, what?
It was strange.
It's very strange. I don't see how it's in any way sort of Italian or charismatic or Ferrari or anything. It's like what on earth is going on here?
The bloke was wearing a gold mask that looked like some sort of lion, and then the female had like a big, like a carnival hat thing on, and yeah, it was strange. It was just strange.
It was very strange. Like those tall women on the boat on the grid.
Yes.
They were taller than everyone else with this huge sort of pyramid-style dress underneath them. What on earth is going on?
I don't know. They're trying to do something different, but I don't know. It's not working because you had the trophies in Germany and France. They were, I don't know what they were. And then there's other bits and bobs that have been the models today. I'm sure that was a sponsor thing, but it's all
things that didn't need to be changed. Yeah,
yes.
Things that don't need to be changed are being changed, and then the stuff that really does need to be changed and really affects the sport is not being changed.
Yes.
But yeah, I'd probably, in terms of my driver of the day, I mean, it's hard to say better than Perez. If he's gained, I didn't realize he gained 6 places off the start, because that's a phenomenal drive. If I was to pick anyone out of a hat, it'd probably be him. because if Hamilton had caught up to Raikkonen and overtaken him by himself, I'd probably go with him. But Bottas has played good wingman deal there and done that. Vettel, Verstappen had the incident with the other driver. Grosjean has been disqualified. Ocon and Perez, they've done a sterling job again for Force India. They haven't had any upgrades on that car since there was talk about budget problems back in, I don't know, I can't remember their last update. And then they've got an update package for Singapore, which apparently is on the way through. It is going to come for Singapore. So I don't know the last time they had an update to that car, but to get what is now 6th and 7th, but even 7th and 8th is a good result. Considering how much money Renault are putting into it. To finish, well, they didn't finish that far behind Verstappen at the end. 30 seconds or so what they are in a different formula. Is very, very good. And I think they're doing very good with what they have, as they always do. Force India, they always do very well with what they have.
Overexceed on what they
massively.
Achieve. Yeah. Well, that's a good shout. Well, next up, what I wanted to talk about is the groundbreaking game. That is F1 2018.
Oh!
No, we're going to need a long time to talk about
No,
this.
I'm going to stay quiet on this. I'm not going to say that much because I've said everything I need to say.
So, can I don't want to talk about it a lot because we're going to be here all day. Let's be honest.
Yeah, we don't have to do much on it.
One of the things I want to talk about is what happened a couple of nights ago when
with Lee Mather replied to Ashley.
Replied to
when Lee came out of the woodwork, everyone else tweeting him about, "Oh no, your game is terrible, mate. Can I get a refund?" And he crawls out the woodwork and goes, "Do you know what? Thanks for your feedback, Ash." And I'm there like, "Mate, do you realise you're gonna try and slant me when your product is absolute AIDS all over the internet, and you're gonna go, do you know what? Puff my chest out. You know what, Ash? You wanna have a Twitter battle? Here we go." And then as I said a few times I've tweeted, in years gone by, everyone would have gone, "Oh, do you know what, Ash? You go a bit hard on the F1 game people. They're doing their best." This time I had at least 10, 15 people all coming in going, "Do you know what, Lee? You're a fucking sham. What on earth are you doing?" Right? And it was really nice to just sit back and watch all these people come in and go, "Do you know what? I want a refund. Your game is shit. It's a shit again for another year. All you do is lie," and all the rest of it. Oh, it's fantastic. I was very happy with that.
And he literally got backed into a corner, and then he had to say, "Yeah, I love the game as much as you guys do." It's like, well, clearly not, because it's shit.
Yeah.
You love the money more than anyone else does. I can tell you that much. And then there was one guy, I think it was the clerk, actually, Border Leclerc. He was there like, "Oh, do you know what? They work really hard to make a game and all this." And I'm like, "Mate, they don't do it out of the goodness of their hearts. There's a lot of money involved here for getting the license."
Yeah.
And you're saying that it might not have been him. Sorry if it wasn't him, but to say, they work really hard. You've got to be a bit kinder to them. And it's like, no, mate, you're buying a product, you're paying money for it. You are consumers. You have rights to consumer law and whatever else you could do about it. And it's just consistently bad and broken every time. And then someone, I think it was Tough F1, tweeted doing, "Oh, isn't it common knowledge to not league race on the game until they have at least 4 updates?" And it's like, what? And that's okay?
It shouldn't be right.
It should come out working. I mean, how is that such a bad concept? So he comes out puffing his chest and going, "Do you know what, Ash? If you put it on the forum, that works." And I'm like, well, no, because we're seeing glitches from 2013 in this game, which people have been reporting on the forums for 5 years. And you said the same about 2017, and we're still seeing cars spawning on top of each other. So your point about the forum is completely meaningless because you don't pay attention to it, as is clear from your footage, because it's all the same glitches. Yep. And he literally had no leg to stand on. That was absolutely brilliant. He ignores hundreds of conversations a day, finds me and he's there like, "Do you know what? I'm going to have him today." And then just realised, he just came out on Saturday morning and was just there like, oh, shit, back away.
Oh, it was too good.
That was
so
brilliant.
Good.
Phenomenal.
It was. Yeah, I mean, I know you told me not to buy it, and you told a lot of people not to buy it, but we all did, and that's. I mean, I'm putting my foot down, and I'm not buying it next year. I won't buy it.
No, but you will though.
No, I won't though. I won't, because by that time I'll be on iRacing, and I won't need F1 anymore.
Oh bloody hell!
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I said.
Up, mate. Right on. Yeah.
He said, I said, well, I think the best solution, Lee, is for just because if people report this stuff and it still stays in there, people have a go at you and then you cry. So I think the best option is just not buy the game.
Yep.
At all. And people are finally starting to see now, 2 years after I started banging on about it, that it really is not the game. You can't buy it and then perhaps expect them to do better next year every single year. So yeah, that's my advice. Don't buy the game. And if you need any evidence of that, look on my Twitter account, and you'll see the glorious magic that is at Formula One game.
It's in the description. His name, so you can go find him on Twitter there.
Tragic.
Yeah.
Stay far away from it though, because it is toxic as fuck on there.
I love the bait. What else is there? What else we've got on?
What else is on the list?
I think we've done driver movements, have we?
Yeah, we've done driver movements.
Singapore preview.
Singapore Grand Prix is next up in 2 weeks' time.
Yes.
And it was very saucy and spicy, like the food they have out there. Last race. That's good, wasn't it? Oh, aren't I a comedic genius?
The well-travelled Oliver Hughes. Well-travelled.
No, you said my full name.
Wales,
Nobody knows that.
Wales. Oh my god, that was so loud.
You'll have to cut that out then.
Yeah, I'll bleep it.
Edit it. Okay, so I think that they're going to do the thing that we've done last year and for the last a couple of years, where everyone hypes up Red Bull and McLaren, and then they both go there and they don't get a good result.
Exactly. Just like they do in Hungary every year. Red Bull, Hungary gonna win. Red Bull gonna win here because it's a short track, there's lots of corners, and they were shit.
Oh god.
That's what they do exactly. That's what they'll do.
Yeah. And I mean, last year was brilliant. Kimi and Vettel on the front row, and then by turn 3, Vettel's with his engine and his radiator punctured, and you just start oh god. As we were talking about earlier, Vettel choking and bottling it. That was just top tier choke.
Yes.
Last year. So I think this year, obviously, Ferraris will have an edge on the Mercedes. Mercedes have just stacked so much downforce on that car, and obviously they've got someone like Hamilton who is just able to hustle a car more than 90% of the grid.
100%.
Yeah, 100% of the grid. Why not? Fire. But they've got that asset in Hamilton. I think Ferrari, but there's still a lot of scope for bad strategy calls, and of course it might rain, in which case Ferrari just fall flat on their face.
Yep. Ferrari, the bottle of the 2018 season.
It's just the same, isn't it? And of course it's getting to this end of the season now where Ferrari suddenly forget how to develop a car. And they just yeah. So I mean, it's a bit of a tragedy, really.
Just like the song by Steps.
Oh, they were going too far back for me.
Yeah,
now.
Steps. Yeah, they were Welsh. Oh, maybe one of them was Welsh.
Literally nobody gives a shit.
That's our national icon you're talking about there. That's all we got.
You
Steps and Tom Jones.
Right. Okay. So, any thoughts on Singapore, Rickson?
Hamilton's gonna win it, and then apart from that, who gives a shit, right?
Yeah, everyone is nothing without Lewis Hamilton.
No, exactly. No, to be fair, there'd be a lot less people watching. That's for sure.
No, he's got a point. He's got a point.
There'd be a lot less people watching.
Yeah, it's true. As much as I hate to say it, it's true. True, the man is a brand.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. F1 fantasy then?
I was going to
see you later, guys.
Predictions.
We go predictions, are we? We're doing predictions.
Where are you off? Do you want to run your own podcast? The Ashley Richardson F1 podcast, where I just talk about what I want and I jump ahead. It's okay, don't worry.
I don't want to be the person holding it back, because I'm always that person holding the podcast back.
Yeah, because you babble. But this week you haven't. Even though we've been going on almost an hour.
Yeah,
It's
predictions.
okay.
Cool. I'm
Predictions.
not going first.
Okay.
Sure,
I'm gonna go Lewis, Bottas, and Max Verstappen. Lewis pole as well.
Obviously.
Because Red Bull will be really good in Singapore, of course. That's why Max will get good.
Has Rickson done his? Yes, yeah, he's done his. Has he?
No, I haven't.
What
All right,
are you? What are you on? Are you on a different channel to us, Ashley?
You said Hamilton was going to win, and that was it. And then you said who else can? Well, it doesn't matter who else.
That's not
Who else
That
Well,
wasn't
doesn't
my
matter.
prediction. That was just.
All
That
right.
was a general overview of Singapore.
All
right, I see.
That is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
There's no guessing in that. That is going to happen.
Okay.
It's just second and third who I've got to decide on. We'll go for. Obviously Hamilton to win. We'll go.
Robert
Bottas
Kubica.
second. Vettel third. And then
23 corners, and you think he's going to go around with one arm?
The Terminator.
Oh.
He'd be fucked.
Yeah, he'd be in the wall at turn 2, wouldn't he?
Jesus Christ.
He go straight on, wouldn't he? He wouldn't be able to.
23 corners with all those curves. This thing will just bounce out of his hand. Out of his claw.
the bolts that come out of his arm.
That'd be a team radio message, wouldn't it? What's wrong, Robert? What's wrong? My arm's coming off. The Top Gear one, like when the sound cameraman gets his arm come off in the double. Maybe that kind of thing.
Yeah, his hook comes off.
Imagine they're like driving around and on his team. Robert, you're gonna need to pit. Your arm has come off at turn 3. It's like
I can keep going. I can keep going.
Car's like running over his arm, punching tires, and his arm's just in pieces on the floor. Oh fuck!
It was like when they're on the pit lane. They're like, "Oh right, come in. We're gonna change to primes and your arm, and quick arm swap." Oh god! I feel like we're gonna get some abuse for this.
Nah,
Yeah.
fuck it,
There we
man.
go.
I'm gonna clip that clip and just put it on Twitter because.
Oh, dear me. At Robert Kubica.
Him as well.
And just go cripple afterwards. Full stop. Just send it that.
Savage.
Oh dear me. Ashley, who are you going to go for?
I mean, I think it'll be Ferrari pole. So I think it'll be Vettel on pole, Hamilton in second place with Verstappen a close third for the quali. I think Kimi will just be nowhere in fourth as per usual. Other than this race, obviously. And then for the win, I think Ferrari will bottle it, or Seb will make a mistake, unless he gets sort of a 3-second head start, and that's it. Then you don't see him for the rest of the race. So I think it'll be a Hamilton win, and I think maybe even a Verstappen second, and then maybe Vettel in P3, just through a Ferrari bottled strategy, where there's something along those lines. It's just, I think it's really come off the rails now for Ferrari, and of course Vettel now has even more pressure than when he first bottled it. So it's, I think it's derailed. Let's say, if they come back from this, I'll be quite impressed.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, won't we? Have to wait and see.
How about you? Oh, you've done yours.
I'm done.
Fucking
What is wrong with you
It's
tonight?
serious.
What's going on? I don't know.
Is Wales in like a
Right.
different time zone or something? I'm really confused. Like, what you think you're listening to?
I
It's
know.
definitely
I
not
know.
the same thing as what I'm listening to. But I'm
No.
not really listening, so.
and he's still more on board than I am. And he's not even listening. Oh dear me.
Right, finally, F1 Fantasy. Of course.
It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I know. Well, you're still paying for it, but.
Why I did not agree to still pay for it. What?
You said. You even tweeted it.
Shit.
So I'm still winning by 130 points.
You're not allowed to win.
Don't.
You aren't winning. Whoever's in second is winning.
Well,
So
yeah, okay.
Give a shout out to whoever's in second.
Well,
please.
I haven't changed. I haven't actually been on the website in 2 weeks. So I haven't changed anything, and I'm still winning. somehow. So I'm winning. Well, okay, I'm not winning, but Ted Pett, F1 Racing Team, or his name is. They display the names on here. So his name is Teodora. That's his name. So he's winning. Burnout's in second. Faf Racing is fourth. Third. Fourth is Lance Stroll's Barmy Army with the best name in the.
Lance Stroll's Barmy Army.
Didn't know there was such a thing.
And in P5 is Dynamic Racing Team, which is Carvin, I think. So that is the top 5. Continue going. Oh yeah, Corsa down in 18th, and Ken is 13th. So I know they're not on
we
this
are
week.
so bad. I gave up after 3 little races because I was last by 30 points.
No.
Wow.
Currently, last is Buttgroper F1.
Wow.
Wait, what? Wait, excuse me? What's his name?
Oh, Buttgroper. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I said that quickly on purpose. I'm
so confused.
Nice. Well played.
Yes, he's in last. Maybe because he's groping too many butts, but who knows?
Oh, my voice is gone. There we go. I've just found a picture of Seb, Lewis, and Kimi going into was it turn 3, 4 at Monza, where Kimi is on the inside, and I put it in the chat, where Seb is just right up against the rear wing. So really, he had no chance of defending against Hamilton, and Hamilton just did very well to stick his car in the clean air and stay, because he knew he could see that he was backed up behind Kimi, and that's the racing mentality that Hamilton has. And Vettel just panicked, as most people would, stuck behind Kimi, nowhere to go. But at that moment, you need to be able to say, look, okay, let him go. We'll get him back. We'll get him back later in the race through strategy or whatever. But he was so concerned about getting past him, or keeping him behind, I should say, that he just choked and spun out in the steer into him, contact, and then spun. But yeah, that move, as Hamilton said, or Hamilton will say, surely that was race deciding, as F1 is these days, decided at the start most of the time.
Yes.
Because Kimi was never going to hold him off. I mean,
No.
just after the pit stop, I was like, nah, do you know what? That's it. Nah, he's at it. And then, of course, he caught up, and Bottas was wingman, and that was it. What a shame.
Yep, you pretty much summed up the race in 10 seconds there. Good job. Well, I think that...
You didn't even need this fucking podcast.
I know.
What was the point in doing this?
I know, we've wasted almost an hour.
What was the point? No, fuck this one. We're never doing this again. Everybody on Ollie's channel, this is the last ever Grid Watchers podcast ever. The new series is going to be F1 in 10 seconds. So, there you go. Game over, guys. No more podcasts. It's been great. It's been a great 40 episodes. I know I've only been here for about 6 of them. It's been great. Look at every second. Yeah. There you go.
It's not
what's Ollie's outro? And good night, or something like that. Finish off with that. Oh, there you go. That's done, mate.
So that's it for the podcast this week. Guys, thank you ever so much for watching. Don't forget to follow the podcast on iTunes, YouTube, and Podomatic. It is down in the description. Follow Ashley, Rickson, and myself.
What?
Podomatic.
Never heard of it.
Down in
So
the description.
Must have 0 downloads. I've never heard of it. So. You only get about 20
we'll see. We'll all see you in 2 weeks' time for the Singapore Grand Prix. Good night.
I've had enough. That's it. End of the podcast.
I've had enough. I'm tired.